Hey guys, Anthony, 4x4 Diesel. This is a video fitting this KAON extinguisher mount bracket for the extinguisher, fire extinguisher. Quality, look at that. Bada bing, that's what we're installing if you want to have the part number handy in case you need it. Comes with a couple of nuts and bolts, so I assume it's a couple of nuts. Oh, the nuts and bolts, I reckon they will be to hold the extinguisher mount bracket on here. This will probably use existing nuts and bolts. Let's have a quick look at the instructions before we get in there. Parts, yep, we've got our parts. Carefully unclip the plastic trim on the lower section of the seat to allow access to the nut that attaches the seat to the rail. That sounds like it could be fiddly. Okay, so this is, I'm just looking at it. I know as much as you guys, I want to be clear, I've never fitted one of these before and just thought I'd be doing a video for you to make it easier, so we won't fluff around too much. Loosen the corresponding nuts on the other rail, 2 to 3 mil gap, slide the bracket in and tighten up the nut. Sounds pretty simple, doesn't it? Let's go and have a look at the car, see what we can find. Make it easier, because reading instructions is one thing and reality is the other. So sit tight, we'll go and have a look at the car. Okay, so if we come into the driver's seat and have a look around under here, let's have a look. Pretty easily you can see that nut right there in the middle of the picture. It's a 12 mil. I believe it's loosened that nut, and we're probably going to get the bracket in between, not the nut and the top part of the seat, but in between the seat and the rail, but I'll show you a little bit later in the video. Over this side, you can see, you know, it's probably hard to see, it's hard enough to make. These are those videos that are hard to make, right? That's why I get the job. But anyway, there's a nut will be in behind that steel there, sort of at the left, in the middle of the picture now, which you need to come around to the outside here to get to it, right? But there's plastic over it. So that plastic we've got to get off to access the nut. We'll pull it back at least a little bit. So if you can see up there, see that blue clip there? Now it's hard to see, but on this car, it's a blue clip. But we're going to push the little tabs on that blue clip in and release that so it allows the whole trim to pull out, which I can't have enough hands in there to do that in the video, but I'm telling you that's what we're doing now. So this is what we've done. See this blue clip here on the back of it? There's two little tabs. Oop, gonna lose it. Two little tabs. You can see you need to push in one at each side, and that'll allow this trim to come back like this, right? Then carefully slide that off. It slides off forward. See the plastic right here? It slides in and out from the front here, right? I hope you can see what I mean. Now then you can see the nut. If we bring the light over this way a little bit and get the focus happening. Yeah, if the thing will focus, no, it's not going to focus, right? It's too busy here. We'll get right in there. What does that do? Anyway, there's the nut. There's the other 12 mil nut. It is quite fiddly to get to. So depending what tools you've got handy, what's going to get in there, whether it's a spanner with an angle or a ratchet spanner or a socket, a small type socket set with a uni joint. But you can pull this trim back quite a bit to get access through there. The problem is, see above it, there's that little hinge part of the seat base, whatever. So it can be a bit fiddly to get there. So I'm not going to tell you what to use at this stage. It depends what tools you've got. We've got some tools here. We'll mess around and try some different things and let you know what works best. Okay guys, so the next step is you need to, depending what seat height adjustment you've got, but you need to pump this and raise the seat to the highest level. That gives you a bit more room getting the actual seat base. Sorry, I'll just get the light in here, give me a sec. Got to be patient, patience. If that works, I don't know. It helps to get the seat base, I don't know if you can see, but it raises the seat up out of the way. Now you've still got the hinge section in the way of the nut. I don't know what you're looking at. I'm sort of struggling here myself. But anyway, I'm trying. Look at it from up this way, right? So you've still got that hinge. See that hinge part just above the spanner? So it's going to be, depending what tools you've got, again, it's going to be almost impossible to get a socket on there. So I'm recommending the use of a spanner, different types of spanners. It's a 12 mil. So this is what we're doing. We're just going to keep this, you know, pulled out a little bit. And we're going to crack that loose and loosen that nut off. It's pretty straightforward. So basically step one is release the blue clip, the two little tabs so it pops out. Step two is raise the seat height up, and then you'll be able to just, you can flex this trim quite a bit without damaging it. I've sort of given a bit of a test on that, given it a bit of a yank. And yeah, it's not going to break or anything like that. You could, you know, just give you an idea. Look, you know, you can yank on it pretty hard, you know, R&D vehicle, right? And then allows you to see what's going on in there and get your spanner in underneath. That's the way to do it. Pretty easy, really. So we're going to get that nut loose and slide this bracket into place. All right, guys, so this is the driver's seat, the one closest to the console. You can see the front nut right in the middle of the picture there. We backed that off. We've probably got about 3 or 4 mil underneath it. It was hard. You got to pull the seat up a little bit, see, to get that to open up. If you can please pull that seat up a little bit just to show them the flex. Right, now that wasn't happening with just the front nut. It's not hard to get to, but approximately another bit further in, you probably can't see it, I'll try and show you, but a bit further up that rail, and you're not going to be able to get the camera in there. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It's about 120 mil further back, maybe towards the, is that the, I'm not sure if it's the back one or if there's 3 bolts, but the next one back, I'll loosen that a few turns as well to get that to lift up. Okay, so that's the one near the console. With the seat raised to the highest height, you can fairly, I didn't have any issue getting my arm underneath this adjustment rail and up with a ratchet. I used the ratchet, the 3/8 drive with a 12 mil to crack that loose. So we've got the one at the front quite loose, the next one back a couple of turns, and of course we got this one at this side here. Helper, if you can please pull that trim back for me, just so I can try and get in there and show everyone. You can see, let it lower it down for the minute. Oh, you haven't pulled the seat up now, have you? Yeah, so trim out. And if you can just give the, hang on, I'll get the light right first. Give the, can you pull the trim out a little bit more? I know, trying to have too many hands at once and it won't focus. Trying to get it to focus in there. Doesn't matter, we'll get right in there like that. Now give that seat a bit of a jiggle, right? So what we're gonna do is put, if I had another pointer, can you hold that light as well, please, mate? Some extra hands. We're gonna put the bracket goes in between there, right? So we're going to squeeze that seat up and slip that bracket in. We'll go ahead and do that. Okay, so all I've done is got my assistant to just give the seat a gentle pull up, and that slipped in place really easy. So now we've got the bracket in place. Bada bing, now we've just got to tighten up those 3 nuts. We're going to go ahead and do that. Remember at the start I said depends what tools you've got available. So using the quality spanner that we use to undo it, which you can see chalk and cheese compared to the first year apprentice toolkit. But rather than grind down the good one, you can see it's a little bit thicker. Well, now it is, because we just put this one on the grinder. So if you've got an old spanner or you don't mind, I'd suggest a 12 mil, 12 point spanner like that. You're never really going to put a lot of pressure with anything, so you can afford to give it a bit of a cleanup. You only need, I've probably taken off more than I need to. I've got plenty of old spanners there that are ground down for specialised purposes, but that was 1 minute, a bit of a touch here and there on the grinder, and it fits. So let's go and nip it up. I have got an assistant here sort of holding the trims for a minute, so it might help to get the missus on the job as well. Now you can see, I don't know if you can just see in that gap there, but it's just going to allow that spanner, hang on, well, it's not going to, now it's not going to work, there it is, so it just slipped on, and it came apart with the other spanner. Sorry about the focus, but that's how it is. It came apart with the other spanner, but it wouldn't go back together because we've raised the seat height up by the thickness of the material, I think is why it changed. The nut is actually, no, that doesn't make sense. Anyway, I don't know, it might have been just luck. So I'll get my helper here just holding the trim up just a little bit so that I can just give this a nice firm. It's definitely as good as it was before, but you know what, I might just grab it again. The key is to get the spanner nice and straight so you don't slip. You don't want it to slip, right? Like, and this one's, you know, shorter than before, so I'm just going to grab it here, and yep, that's definitely good. We'll just go and check these ones over the other side here, and it looks like, to me, it'll be time to pop that trim back on. It's not that hard, guys. You just need to watch the video 2 or 3 times, maybe 4. The more times you watch it, you just get the information out of it, and when you get to the car, you know all about it. All right, guys, so just to recap, we've got this nut tightened up, you saw. We've gone and tightened up that nut at the front there that you can see in the light. There's another one, it's behind that rail. I can't get the camera in there, but we use the ratchet again to tighten that up, the 3/8 ratchet with a 12 mil. We always try and use 6-point sockets or single hex, whatever you want to call it. Not, you know, this type of 12-point arrangement. That's the difference, if you know what I mean. But we've got the special having trouble holding it still in the picture, but we've got the I've got the shakes. Got the special tool now. If you want to borrow that while you're here, you can come here and install it. Anyway, there's our trusty bracket to put the fire extinguisher on. We just got to get the fire extinguisher onto it and refit this trim. So the first thing is, helper, if you can please hold that trim out for me, and I will demonstrate how this clip goes. Right, that goes like that, and then I'll try and show you from behind. I don't know if this is going to work. I really don't know what's going to work here, so put the light back over here. Hopefully it goes on the job, not in our face. You know how it works. And literally you should just push that clip, but I'm going to have a look, make sure it's lined up. See, it's in the hole. I don't know if you can see that, but I saw it, and right, it's clipped in. Now, have we wrecked anything? Looks like the side of the seat's all normal to me. That's how they are. Whatever, you know, there's not that much holding them anyway. Well, at least I don't think so. You know, you always wonder after you do that, you go, oh, well, you know, did I do any damage? But no, I think that's how they are. We'll go and compare to the other side to be sure, eh? Guys, so this is the finished product. Altogether, I would probably estimate, if you haven't done one of these before, which is going to be most people, it's going to take you about, what do you reckon, 20 minutes, half an hour, something like that. If you've got a helper, you know, if you get through stuff quick and you're real good, it's a 10-minute job. If you've done a few, it's probably a 10-minute job or less. But allow half an hour, I'd sort of say. So all the trim's good. It's just held by that one clip there. So that's all same as the other side, all secure. The bracket is nice and sturdy. We've just used the two, we had two M6 bolts where it was mounted previously, so we've reused those, but they do come with a couple of small bolts in the kit. I'm not that excited about my extinguisher bracket itself, but it's there for now. It'll do the job. Looks good. It's in a pretty neat place. I'll just give you an idea where it sits. This is with a seat, you know, I suppose, you know, as far back as what I normally sit. Generally, you're not going to put your feet back there. You might want to change the orientation so that, you know, whatever suits you, so that up that end there so things don't get bumped, perhaps like that. If it accidentally goes off, it's spraying forward, not in your face, and you've got all your levers facing the back, so that's probably the best orientation. I haven't thought about it too hard. That was just, you know, off the cuff. Anyway, guys, that's how to install the KAON fire extinguisher bracket in the 150 Prado. I'm not sure if there's one for the 120 that does that, or if it's the same or different, but definitely for the 150 Prado, that's how it's done. Thanks for watching. If you like that and you got something out of it, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn that bell on so you don't miss the next most important bit of information coming soon. See you guys.